Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the Managing Director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. As the title of this video suggests, we're discussing YouTubers in Thailand. Thought of making this video after reading a recent comment on our channel, quoting directly, "Do you think the YouTubers working here without a permit are going to be targeted? I notice many think putting their channels under their GF or wife's name, I presume girlfriend or wife's name, while still actively being involved in the content will protect them. Seems like form over substance and won't fly. What's your opinion on this?" Well, I think I made it pretty clear in a lot of prior videos that YouTubing is work. It meets the definition of work. I think it's taxable. I think it's only a matter of time before authorities are aware of this. In fact, I have some reason to believe that they're already very much aware of this and they're looking at it deeply. But the reason that comment alone is not enough to warrant this video. The reason I'm making this, and I've been accused and burned in a bunch of comments recently for being a scaremonger just to promote this, our company, our firm. Look, I mean, if the channel isn't obviously promotional, I don't know what is. I mean, I've never really hidden the fact that there's a promotional component. That said, we're not monetized. I do this for free and have been doing it for free for 7 years. Oftentimes, I think maybe it costs to myself in certain circumstances. So I don't really appreciate the whole scaremongering thing. Also, not really my point. As we've discussed, I got called a scaremonger when I said the retirement visa income affidavit was coming to an end. People said, oh, he's scaremongering, that's not going to happen. It happened. And I was doing it to warn people. When I said, hey, watch out for work authorization stuff, and then crackdowns came, I was doing it to warn people. When I said, hey, watch out on bank balances associated with retirement visas, I was doing it to warn people, going back into 2018. This is also a warning. I've done other videos contemporaneously with this one where I discuss the issue of land ownership in Thailand, via corporations, which again, as we've discussed, you got to be very, very careful with. I'm not making those videos to scaremonger. I'm making it because it's a problem, and you can get caught up in this, and it can become a real problem. But that being said, I thought of more to the point. I thought of making this video after reading a recent article from the Phuket News. That's thephuketnews.com. Article is titled "DSI Raids Phuket Accountants Over 440 Million Baht in Nominee Companies." Quoting directly, the Department of Special Investigations has raided a legal accounting firm based in Shillong that is now under investigation for involvement in facilitating nearly 70 foreigners illegally operating companies with holdings worth an estimated total of 444 million baht. Then you get even deeper in over here to this. Quoting further, he said the practice of using nominee shareholders was illegal under the Foreign Business Act and brought, quote, much economic harm to the country, unquote. He being police Major Surya Singh Hakamon, who appears to be the DSI director who initiated the raid. Bear in mind, DSI, that's a nationwide deal. So maybe this is kind of Phuket-centric, maybe not. Hard to say. Quoting further, accordingly, from the evidence found as a result of previous investigations, we have found that the law firm set up almost 100 companies for foreigners, of which about 44 companies were related to land. And they go on to say, in total, 44 real estate companies, 8 tourism companies, and 14 other service companies were under investigation. That pertains, to my mind, to restricted occupations in Thailand. So the underlying work being the issue as well as land being the issue. And the reason I bring this up for YouTubers is, again, it may not be 100% analogous, although I think it's pretty darn close, to the issue of YouTubers, especially YouTubers just working without work permits at all, or working on retirement visas via YouTubing. Yes, YouTubing, I've done the videos on this many times. YouTubing clearly falls within the definition of work in Thailand, as the definition of work in Thailand is quite broad. Point I'm trying to make is, as discussed in other videos directly on that article, this, as I discussed in the video I did about landholding companies, where you'll see foreigners run around and say, "Oh yeah, no problem, you can own land in Thailand and just set up a company." No, as I've discussed many times, exactly as what happened here. Law enforcement catches wind of this stuff. They investigate. They rate. People that own land in any of these companies are in a really bad position now. There's a very good chance that they will dissolve the company, take the land, if they don't assess other penalties individually associated with those involved in the company. Again, what's that got to do with YouTubers directly? It's the same phenomenon, I guess is what I'm saying. I'm sitting here telling people, hey, there's a way to do it legally, there's a way to do it right, where you get work authorized, and yeah, YouTubing can be part of your work here in Thailand, that's fine. But what I'm saying is where you just sort of brush it all off and say, it's no big deal, I'm not going to get caught, whatever. Yeah, well, that was probably what a lot of folks in this Phuket News article were thinking when they were dealing with this stuff pertaining to these holding companies and things, or engaging in restricted occupations, again, like real estate, again, like tourism operation. They were probably saying the same thing to themselves. Oh, it's no big deal. I'm all right, Jack, as they say, until you're not. That's my point. This isn't scaremongering. I really, it doesn't matter do what you want. Doesn't matter one way or another to me on a personal level. What I'm making this video for is to warn, if nothing else, that hey, yes, the law has a tendency to look backwards. That's something that we say, lawyers often say, you'll hear judges say that too. The law looks backwards. It's not a forward-thinking, but it's not a forward-thinking operation, because you have to make law and then apply it. So it does have kind of a retroactive, practical implication. And I suspect that's what's going on here. Law enforcement just hasn't caught up yet with the phenomenon of YouTube and whatnot. That said, uniquely to YouTube, and this is something YouTubers need to be keenly aware of, there's undisputable evidence of working illegally, should an investigator come down the line and want to try to prove it. If you sort of fall into the crosshairs, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion if you're working illegally, because they can look at the timing of work authorization, did you have it, and then they can look at the time stamp on the YouTube video's publication. And if those two things don't match up, well, that's pretty much proof in fact, prima facie proof that you were working illegally. You recorded it, in fact. So again, not here to scaremonger the YouTubers. Not my point. My point is I want to see more of you. I want to see you out there doing your thing. And again, travel blogging, that's a totally different deal. If you come into Thailand, you're here for a couple of days and video yourself on a beach or whatever and it goes viral, great, have at it. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking, and folks here know who they are, that I'm sort of speaking this to. True YouTubers, Thailand YouTubers that are operating without work authorization, and they're trying to, play, clever little games. That's not going to work. Putting something in somebody else's name, you're like noted in the comment, wife's name, girlfriend's name, you're on film. I don't know how to make that any more clear, and if you don't have work authorization, it's pretty clear you're working. If something comes down, unlike even in this Phuket News article where there's probably going to be an adjudication and they have to go in and analyze, what was the intent behind setting all this up, it's not going to be that complicated. It's basically going to be saying, well, were you work authorized on the date of this video's publication? If so, well, okay, maybe you're all right. If not, it's pretty clear, and there's undisputable evidence. You're filmed doing it. So again, not my point to scaremonger. It's my point to earnestly warn people, because as this Phuket News article shows, if you become complacent and you just think, it's all right, mai pen rai, everything in Thailand will just be hunky-dory, yeah, it is till it's not.